Hey guys, welcome to The Sports Entertainer. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you never miss out on any of our videos. Our first wrestling news story of the day is the Usos betray Roman Reigns and officially leave the Bloodline on SmackDown. Now the hype was definitely very big heading into last night's edition of Friday Night SmackDown, because the major focal point of the show was surrounding the drama in the Bloodline, with Roman Reigns set to appear on the show and confront Jey Uso to see where he lies in the Bloodline faction, because while Jey had made it very clear the previous week that he intended to stay in the faction, Jey also wanted Paul Heyman gone. Jimmy Uso would cost Jey Uso his United States Championship match as well last week on SmackDown, which caused some fans to question what Jey Uso would end up doing. Would Jey remain loyal to Roman Reigns in the Bloodline, or stick with his brother Jimmy Uso through thick and thin and make the bold move to leave the Bloodline once and for all? Now we definitely got those answers last night on SmackDown, and Jey Uso has decided to remain loyal to his brother Jimmy Uso despite the tribal chief advising against that, with Jey Uso shockingly betraying Roman Reigns in the main event segment during SmackDown last night by delivering an emphatic superkick to Roman Reigns out of nowhere, which completely shocked Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman beyond belief. Jimmy Uso as well, but in a good way. And the Usos would proceed to lay out Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa to conclude SmackDown, with the fans in the arena going absolutely crazy. Now we first have to give major props to WWE for this truly amazing storyline, and they've really made all of these defining moments huge and emotional roller coasters for fans. Jey Uso is fantastic at what he does, and has only elevated this Bloodline drama even more, and there's no doubt that fans do in fact want to see the return of main event Jey Uso after last night's conclusion to SmackDown. This is a truly shocking and troubling time for the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, and while Roman has definitely come back from worse, it will be interesting to see how Roman Reigns plans to respond after the Usos have officially ended all ties to the Bloodline. It's now just Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and the Usos' brother Solo Sikoa that make up the Bloodline in WWE. Roman Reigns is definitely devastated with Jey Uso's betrayal on SmackDown last night, but Roman really cannot be too surprised by this shocking turn of events, because you can only push someone so far, and clearly both the Usos have had enough of being berated by the tribal chief, and want to do things their own way once again. And considering Roman Reigns has relied upon his fellow Bloodline members, helping him retain his undisputed championship against many of his challengers, with Sami Zayn and the Usos now officially gone from the faction, Roman Reigns has some serious trouble ahead, as really only now has Solo Sikoa who could come to his aid. And as most of you are likely aware, Solo Sikoa is also showing signs that he is not fully on board with the tribal chief Roman Reigns, and Solo could be next to turn on Reigns, which would truly devastate Roman beyond belief. Now with the recent reports that WWE are planning for Roman Reigns to main event the upcoming Money in the Bank 2023 Premium Live event, it's now looking as though it is very likely that either Jimmy Uso or Jey Uso will be challenging for Roman Reigns' undisputed WWE Universal Championship, although there is a chance that WWE instead do Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus the Usos at Money in the Bank this year, which would definitely make a lot of sense, and then save main event Jey Uso's title match for a later pay-per-view like SummerSlam. But let us know down in the comment section below, firstly, your thoughts on Jey Uso making up his mind to stick by his brother Jimmy Uso's side and turn his back on Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. And when it comes to the upcoming Money in the Bank Premium Live event, what would you prefer, either Jimmy Uso or Jey Uso challenging for Roman's undisputed championship, or a tag team match between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa against the Usos, and then basically save the title match for a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam this year? Rikishi reacts to the Usos betraying Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa on SmackDown. The Bloodline completely imploded last night on Friday Night SmackDown, and there's no doubt that the entire wrestling world is shocked by this turn of events, because while many fans did eventually think that Jey Uso would turn on Roman Reigns and align with his brother Jimmy Uso, the actual reality of this happening and Jey Uso superkicking the tribal chief was still a sight that has shocked wrestling fans, and this is why long-term long-term storytelling is huge in WWE, because it makes these moments of the Usos leaving the Bloodline that much more monumental and jaw-dropping. Now, a critical member of the Anoa'i family has reacted to the Usos betraying Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa last night on SmackDown, and it just so happens to be none other than the Usos and Solo Sikoa's dad, Rikishi. For those of you who have not seen, Rikishi took to social media shortly after SmackDown last night on Twitter, and posted a gif from the infamous movie The Godfather, indicating that Rikishi was shocked by what the Usos did to Roman Reigns and his other son Solo Sikoa. But it is doubtful that Rikishi can blame Jey Uso for doing what he did, because according to one of our sources, Rikishi has not been happy with the way that Roman Reigns has went about leading the Bloodline faction over the past several months, and that Rikishi felt like this end result of the Usos betraying the Bloodline was basically inevitable and a foregone conclusion, with Roman Reigns treating the Usos very poorly and flexing his power way too much. Not to mention that Rikishi was not also happy with his son Solo Sikoa turning his back on the Usos to remain loyal to Roman Reigns. Basically, Rikishi felt like this Bloodline was a complete mess of a situation, and while he was shocked to see Jey Uso do what he did to Roman Reigns last night on the blue brand, he isn't surprised whatsoever, and that it was a long time coming. As you would expect, Rikishi's reaction to the Usos betraying Roman Reigns in the Bloodline has gotten a lot of attention from fans across social media, and like we had reported in previous videos, there is speculation that Rikishi could be returning to WWE television on SmackDown in the coming weeks to make his feelings clear regarding the implosion of the Bloodline, with Rikishi trying to pick up the pieces of the fallen faction. Now, even if Rikishi does take matters into his own hands and try to get involved with the Bloodline to try and fix things, the damage has already been done, and Roman Reigns likely won't trust the Usos again after their actions on SmackDown, so Rikishi's efforts will likely be fruitless if he does return to SmackDown in the coming weeks. By all means, while Rikishi is very loyal to his sons the Usos, fans cannot forget that Solo Sikoa is also Rikishi's son, which puts Rikishi in a very tough spot. Who does he support in all of this, the Usos or Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa? We will likely find out very soon on SmackDown if Rikishi does return to television. Regardless, while the Bloodline will never be the same in WWE ever again, and is basically finished in every sense of the word, with Jey Uso putting the final nail in the coffin of the faction last night on SmackDown by turning on Roman Reigns, we definitely need to appreciate this storyline, because it has certainly been one of the better ones WWE have put out in years, and really had fans invested and engaged with it the entire time, leading up to the culmination now of the Bloodline falling apart. Let us know your thoughts on Rikishi's reaction to the Bloodline crumbling last night on SmackDown, and overall, how impressed are you guys of this Bloodline storyline in WWE overall? Do you feel it's been one of the better WWE storylines in recent memory? Let us know.